already weekend mode is set. And here we are discussing the burning topic that would certainly raise some temperature. So let's get a bit thoughtful. And here we are discussing the topic, how women can effectively manage the career breaks and how to return back stronger. This topic we all agree, and we know, being women ourselves, that how difficult it is to manage any break. And I haven't met a working woman yet who has not faced this struggle period. So we'll start with our own stories, our own struggles, sharing with the upcoming managers and leaders here who are here with us, and we take it up from there. So before we start, let's introduce each other, and let's have that introduction. So Tanushri, would you take that lead?
Absolutely. Thank you, Aditi. And good afternoon to everyone here and my fellow colleagues, fellow panelists, especially because all of you have taken our precious time out of our usual schedule and address this issue. My name is Tanushri. I have around 21 years of HR experience, hardcore HR person. In corporates, I have experience in various multi-industries from IT, ITES, telecom, publication, and now back to IT again. Very, very keen, on wanting to contribute my ideas, my learnings, my experiences to this topic. And I'll be really glad at the end of this conversation if this particular webinar helps any of my fellow women colleagues to get back to their their feet and get back to work. So thank you, Aditi, for giving this opportunity to me.
Absolutely. Pleasure is all ours. Welcome, Tanushri. And I'm sure our viewers are going to gain out of your experience. Thank you so much. Shikha, would you take up next?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks, Aditi, for this opportunity. It's such a pertinent topic, and I think COVID has made it even more relevant in the current times. So Shikha here, thorough HR professional, hardcore, just like Tanushri. It's been, 17 years in the industry. IT and more of IT. That's been my journey. Beyond HR, yeah, I love to travel. I love to network. And here I am. I hope, the audience will be able to learn something from my own experiences, which I have gone through in the last 18 years, managing work-life balance and family and breaks. Yeah, so here I am.
Wonderful. Welcome, Shikha, and I'm sure our audience would be benefiting out of your experiences. It's lovely to have you here. Welcome again. Richa, please take the lead.
Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot, Aditi, for inviting me to this platform. I am Richa from Delhi, a certified resume writer and founder of Resume Alliance. We provide services for resume writing and cover letter writing, along with LinkedIn profile optimization. Apart from this, I am mother of 2 kids and a marathon runner. Hopefully, we will contribute to women who are planning to return to work after a long sabbatical through this discussion. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much and welcome, Richa. And the key part here is Richa being a professional resume writer is a very, very, key specific field, and to have her here is absolutely an honor and a pleasure. Just to mention a point, while we all have done job searching at some point or the other, we do prepare so much for interview or we read about the companies and all, but many a times we end up taking resume writing a bit casually, even, spelling mistakes at times, screw up the even entire beginning. So welcome, Richa. And
Thank you so much, Aditi.
Welcome. Just to give a quick brief about myself as well, for those who don't know, I myself am a marketing professional with 21 years of experience. I have had my journey into marketing, branding, and advertising industries with the companies like Dabur, Times of India, and a global MNC last. I was engaged as a global marketing CMO. So here now I've just initiated this small community, a women community, the Her Tribe, which focuses on issues that matter to us the most. And here we are on LinkedIn with our first panel discussion with HR leaders talking about how we can make our professional journey more smooth, I would say. while we all have our own professional skill sets, but let's hear from our HR leaders how we can have it smoother. Great. So to begin the discussion, Tanushree, would you share with us about your career journey, your struggles as a woman in specific, and what struggles or if at all you faced any career break, and how did you manage balancing family, work, kids?
Sure, Aditi. Frankly, if you really ask me, for all us working women, when we say the family needs to be, strong, and if we have a family backing, then it makes it much more easier for us to, continue our journey in career and corporate life continuously. I have been really fortunate, did not really have a career break in my, career journey, because when my baby was born, I live with a joint family, so I had my in-laws with me, and, it was all taken care. But yes, in my entire, work life, there has been a career break, but that is not to do with maternity. It's primarily, I'm going to be covering here that a career break for a woman need not be just out of maternity. It could be lots of other reasons. It could be for her to pursue a passion that she wanted to pursue, and then, get back to the corporate life, or maybe take a break like I did, because the ideologies did not match in one of my previous organizations. So we just parted as friends, and then again I was back to looking for a job, and got one eventually. So these are different career breaks, yes, not just maternity. Maternity, yes, is obviously the main reason why a woman normally take a break, especially when we really want to take care of our little ones. That didn't really exactly get into a lot of struggle in my career life, maybe because the family backing was there. I had this backbone with me. So no struggle personally, if you really ask me, in terms of, career journey.
So you've been lucky, Tanushree, you had family support. And here is the key point that, while many of us are now moving on to nuclear family structures, now this is exactly the point, here is what joint family really helps us in that.
True.
So you've been lucky on that part. So Shikha, coming on next to you, would you share your journey and any struggles or breaks that you had to face?
Yeah, sure. No struggles really, but yes, in the last 18 years, I've had one break. For me, the struggle was more, Aditya, on a different front since my upbringing happened abroad. Coming back to India, right? Different culture, different people, different kind of a lifestyle, mindset, especially. That adjustment took time when I started my first job in India, right? Getting married, moving to Bangalore, right? And at that time, a few years back, a lot of people didn't even understand Hindi properly or English properly, especially the local population. So that was one part of my struggle, getting adjusted or acclimatized to the whole India environment and the way we are or who we are or how we are structured or how we think, right? Compared to the Brits or the Americans who are, it's plain and simple, right? You don't have to read between the lines. That has been my experience. But yes, in my career journey, I did take a break, and this was to look after one of my parent at home. Uh, Initially I was like, should I not do it? But then you have to call the shots, right? Obviously family comes first, right? You won't get the parent back, and somebody was critical, so I decided to take off from work for about 11, 12 months. Once she was back on her feet, that's when I started hunting again, and I was back to the job market. But yes, that 1 year, keeping yourself, and we'll talk about more as we progress, keeping yourself busy, engaged, doing something creative, innovative is very important. Otherwise, you can get into a lot of other mental health issues
Correct.
because you've been working all your life, right? You can't see yourself sitting idle. So I've had that 1 year, 11 months break. Otherwise, it's been wonderful from one job to Oracle, NIIT, On Mobile Global Limited, right? Wipro, And now I'm with Winwire
So
Technologies.
you come from an HR, IT background, which makes it a little different. We'll talk about it. So the key point highlight here is, when it comes to even management of family, somewhere women have to take that lead, and end of it, the career suffers mostly for women, and here we are discussing it. Thank you for sharing it, Shikha. Richa, how about your journey? As I understand, you have 2 little kids, and I'm sure it must have been difficult for you.
Exactly, Aditi. Mine was not as smooth as Tanushri's or Shikha's. One reason is that I am from nuclear family. So academically, I was good. But after in initial years, I was from tourism industry. I worked for several years. Then I got married and moved to Mumbai. And after that, you can say family was not very supportive. Then I conceived my first kid, and afterwards second one. And gradually I understood that going back to workplace, physical workplace, is not possible for me. So I choose to start working on my own, freelancing or pro bono or whatever is possible. And then in 2015 we moved back to Delhi. After that I founded Resume Alliance, and I am working with that. So it's a long story. So in short, I can say mine was not very smooth because I am from nuclear family and I have to manage everything on my own.
Yeah, I completely understand. So thanks for sharing that, Richa. And so was mine, actually. Even I have 2 kids. I had to take a little break after my first kid was born, and it was almost a year break. And it was really, really difficult coming back to the mainstream, because even the infrastructure was not as supportive back then. And I'm talking of, 18, 19 years back, and I was in a nuclear family. So things have been always difficult for women. So let's move ahead with that. And with this groundbreaking, discussion, or setting the stage, my question to each one of you would be, what would be your advice to the upcoming managers who would be leaders of tomorrow? How should they be managing this part better, and how they can, take it up from here? So, Tanushri, would you like to take it up?
Would this be a question relating to women coming back to work after a break?
Yes. So the question is basically, how should they manage the break part? The break could be for any reason. It could be for maternity, for family, for spouse shifting to any other city or whatsoever. So how can women manage that break part better, so that when they're coming back, they don't have to compromise on role, or other aspects of the work?
Okay, so I think 2 points that I'd like to really tell the ladies out here would be: one, please do not lose touch with your basic network or basic skill set. Keep reading. I understand that it's not going to be easy. You will have very less time. There's a baby, there's family to take care, but trends are continuously changing. And it is, take time out, just read some articles, understand what the trends in the market are. Don't be absolutely a novice when you're ready to enter the market again. Your skill set is not going anywhere, your education is not going anywhere, your qualification that you carry will still continue. Yes, in terms of the trends, in terms of what's around, is something that you need to be a little on top. Second advice, and all I can give you, is if you are able to do some certifications, please do. There are n number of certifications available for free, and there is online boom as far as learning is concerned. If you do get time, I understand it can't be one certification, a week, or one certification 15 days. It's impossible. Pick up one thing that you can really run with, because when you're back to work, that certification will be your key, or the edge over other candidates.
That's a wonderful advice, Tanushri. So I really agree to that, because keeping updated, keeping at pace with the industry, and the very interesting part is, maybe any industry, it's not just IT, but it may be marketing to HR to anything. The industry trends are changing like every 6 months to 1 year. You can't
Absolutely.
be expecting that if you are back, even after a regular break of say 6 months, things move ahead. So thank you for this advice. Absolutely. How about Shikha next? What are your views on this?
I can actually tell you my practical experience of those 11 months, right?
Yeah.
When you're at home, you have 24 hours at your disposal beyond, taking care of the sick parent or the sick person at home, unwell, right? So initially I was like, okay, fine. First week, second week, you're into it, right? You're helping that person cope up with the illness, food, medicines, and blah, blah, blah. Once the person starts feeling better, and she's bedridden, it will take, it's a journey which will take a couple of months or maybe 6 months or a year. So how did I manage time? What I used to do is, even during that break period, I had defined a routine for myself. Say morning between 11 or 1, right? I would read, like Tanushri was saying, read articles, go to Google, read about industry trends, keep myself updated about what's happening, right? It's not necessary that I need a job tomorrow, but whenever I want to come back to the industry, I know, where I stand, what's changing, right? Otherwise, you're very outdated. Technology is changing, domain is changing, the HR industry itself is changing. That's what I used to do in the first half of the day. In the second half of the day, if you are somebody who likes to pursue a hobby or a passion, focus on your physical and mental health. It is very easy, Aditi, to get into depression, right? Oh, mere paas kuch nahi hai karne ko, because all your friends and colleagues are busy at work, right? Nobody has time to chit chat. At max, you can dial somebody, talk to him or her for 5 minutes, but everybody has a day job to cater to, right? So it's very easy to become anxious, to become depressed, demotivated in life. So focus on physical and mental health. Focus on a passion or a hobby that you want to pursue. I think that's very important. That also gives you a time to, break out things you've always been saying, my job doesn't give me time to do this. Now you have all the time. You have those 24 hours. So
Wonderful.
pursue that.
Wonderful advice. In fact, many a times this mental health part is very, very simply ignored. Even the family members are not able to understand that part at times. You end up being frustrated. I can relate to my own time, like, right after 6, 7 months, when generally the baby gets into a routine, you start having some time at your disposal, and then you just don't know what to do. And if you've not been in touch with your industry, you already start losing confidence. So that's a very valid advice. Thanks for sharing that. Richa, what is your opinion on that?
Aditi, I would like to advise everyone not to waste their time during their sabbatical. Utilize the time productively, upskill your skill sets, go for certification, and keep yourself updated about your industry trend. And apart from that, take time to build your network. Don't go out of touch with your network. This is very important when you are planning to come back. So, and keep learning about your industry, as Shikha just said, and Tanushri also said. This is the key point. Otherwise,
yeah. So thanks, Richa. In fact, a very, very valid point that you have raised here. We should keep in touch, or rather network even more proactively. You can start doing it after a certain point when you know that, okay, I have to return after 2 months or 3 months. And this is the time, when socially we have so much at our disposal. So you can be active on LinkedIn, even through and through. You can always be there in the network so that you're not left out, or you're out.
One more point I would like to add here, that one should always fix their deadline when they are planning to come back to work. Otherwise, it will never end.
I agree. That's a very valid point, because, that is a time when you keep taking it, okay, another 2 months, another 3 months. So that's a very valid
point. Started taking it for granted, right? Yeah.
So to summarize this part, which is of most significance, all three of our panelists shared, keep upskilling yourself. Sorry. So here I would also add rather, one part is certification. Another part that comes to my mind is people can even take up internships or small projects. If you already have an experience of say even 5-7 years, taking up projects, sitting at home is also possible these days. So that's actually, in my words, I say that's the only good part that has happened with the pandemic. Relatively the industry is open for work from home projects, and people do need good caliber people working on projects. So that's also another way to keep yourself engaged. So great, thank you so much all of you for sharing these great tips and advices. So coming back to you, Richa, here now, once the person starts deciding to come back, what do you think can be the steps for the job search, or any specific tips and tricks, as we discussed about the resume writing as well? So how should one go about it?
First thing, one should start with doing research about your industry, that what is the employer, your recruiter are looking for, and do you have that kind of a skill set that they are looking for? And after that, you analyze what kind of skill sets you have, and based on that, you need to upskill your skill sets. If you don't have, you should go for certification or courses. And after that comes the resume part, as your resume must be outdated by that time after a long sabbatical, right? So you need to rebuild your resume also. You have to go for makeover. You need to highlight your achievements, skill sets. And one point is very important here, that your resume should be tailor-made. It should be according to the expectation of your recruiter. For that, you have to go through job description and pick up the industry jargons that they are looking for. And
Agree.
there are a lot many women-centric job portals. They are exclusively meant for women only, like She Roles, Naukri for Her, Job for Her. You can get ample opportunities over there. So you go through it and do your homework before appearing for interview. So when you will be prepared, you can go through sample questions which are available online, and you will be more confident. And confidence is the most important key feature. One interview coach has aptly said that self-confidence is the most important thing that you can bring to an interview. Be confident and present well. You'll be successful.
Completely agree.
That's my advice. Yeah.
Right. So very rightly said, for the resume, it's very important to be updated and tailor-made, a very valid point. So coming to you, Shikha, what do you think from an HR perspective, since you are into talent management and acquisition? So what do you think HR managers look for in a resume, and does it make any different when you see a break on a resume?
Yeah, I would like to add something to what Richa said. Getting back to the job world or to the job market after a break, I think every woman needs to assess the current situation, right? Before going on break, the family setup or her current situation was different. Say she wasn't a mother, right? So she was maybe open to taking up roles which involved maybe night shifts, maybe travel, maybe long hours, maybe US clients. It was easy for her to do that. Now that she's a mother, or there is some other variant that has changed in her life, she needs to decide what kind of roles she's open for, right? It has to be a targeted job search rather than, bulk application, right? You go on Naukri, you see some 6, 7, 8 jobs. What people tend to do, acha, this is right, looks good, let's apply, tuck, 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 right? You have to see what kind of role are you crafted for now, what is possible, and then apply. Now, coming to what you asked, yes, when recruiters, when my team or the industry, anybody screens resumes, we do look at, if there are breaks, if at all, how many breaks are there, how long were the breaks for, right? Though there are companies who are very welcome, the industry is very welcome for, women returning back to work. A lot of organizations have dedicated programs like Amazon, like CTS, and so on and so forth. But still, at what juncture of life that candidate has taken a break, and how justified is that break, is what the recruitment always questions. Now, there are valid reasons, fair enough. You put the candidate through the interview process and you take it ahead. But if there aren't, right, there are people who kind of fool around or cook up stories and stuff like that. And if integrity is at question when you're talking to the candidate, when you're screening the resume, then those people will not fly through, right? They don't get through the interview process because certain values are very important, right? If you're being truthful, you're being honest, why there is a break, you're more than welcome to join our organization. I think that's how the industry looks at it. And as far as the resumes are concerned, yes. I mean, like you rightly said, wrong spelling mistakes. It's such a turn off, right? You have to neatly write it, the formatting, the presentation, the description, right? How much you have to write under each of these job roles, neat bullet points, a proper heading, all that is important. If it is a well formatted, well tailor made resume, it attracts my attention sooner, right? And another thing, I think what women should do, if I'm applying for a particular role and you think you are a 90% match, right, and you think you can do this job and you're a good fit, customize the first page of your resume to suit the job description, right, so that it catches the recruiter's attention. Okay, she has most of what we are looking for, let's give her a call and see how good a fit she is. So it's very important to customize the resume also to a certain extent to fit the job role. Not lie, but customize. Just say the truth, what you have done versus what you have not done, and what is your USP for this job. I think that would be my 2 cents.
Very valid input, Shikha. Thanks for sharing that. So coming to you, Tanushree, now. So you being the HR head for a global organization. So what, in your opinion, you think is the HR's perspective any different when it comes to women's acceptability after a maternity break or any kind of break?
Okay, so I think Richa and Shikha have covered really valid points, and I'm just going to be adding on to it. See, one of the biggest barriers women, returning to the workplace face is confidence. Okay, due to being out of workforce for a very long time, especially women in managerial positions are nervous about getting back at the same level. As a result, returning women are often underutilized. Though, of course, the mindset is changing, and I think be open about your career break. Don't hide it. That's very important. Today, as HR, when I look at a CV, I'm okay if there is a career break. And yes, I would. There could be a time where I would want to understand if the career break is for a longer time or if the career break is for a shorter time. We might not even consider that. So it depends. The mindset is totally changing. What I would obviously advise is do not hide it. Be open about your career change. There is nothing wrong in it. Many people temporarily leave the workplace for some reason or the other, and don't hide it. It could be for any reason, but just be open about it. Second, of course, is there is always this disconnect in our mind that our network has moved on. Okay, because obviously, you had to take a break, but they have all, grown, and there have been, they've been moving on. So during that time, ensure that try and not lose in touch with your network, which is going to, of course, help you majorly when you're ready to come back to the, corporate world. With in terms of just your interview, if you really ask me, I would just say there is going to be no change as far as you or any other candidate is concerned, because your qualification is still your qualification, your experience is still your experience. Yes, you took a career break, could be for n number of reasons, especially if you've taken it for, let's not just call it a career break. Let's talk about, recoin the term as, career journey, or career or caretaking, for that matter, could be anything. Just be confident about yourself. If you know your job, the break really does not matter.
Very valid point. Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. Your education, your skill set doesn't change in a small period of time. So just manage it well, and you are all there. I don't think so there is any reason that you should make big compromises, which generally women end up doing. So confidence is the key here, which Richa also just mentioned, that stay confident and, keep moving on from there. So that's perfectly fine. Shikha, now coming from an IT perspective, so I'll come back to you since you represent major, IT companies. You've been with them. So, do you think is it any different in an IT or non-IT sector?
Uh, not really, Aditi. I think, like Tanushree said, mindset is changing. There is more openness to, openness from corporates, sorry, to take women back to work. It's just that uh, the role fitment matters a lot, right? You may want to really decide because the situation of the woman is different now that she's resuming work. I think that is the deciding factor. But IT is also very open. If the person is fit for the job role, we just go ahead and hire. And if the person displays, confidence, integrity, the right attitude, the commitment, which are important factors for any job role, I think we are good to go. Yes.
Oh, sounds good. So coming to my next question, when it comes to family decisions, all these decisions, say even a city transfer or somebody in the family, or generally it's the parents, if they fall really sick or unwell. So mostly it's the women who have to compromise. And Shikha, your case, you have already gone through that. So, do you think that barrier is changing, or it's still only the women who has to really take that burn? Do you think women are getting a major role in family decisions, and maybe the spouse decides to sit at home? So, what's your take on that?
In my case, Aditya, I was lucky. Both of us gave options to each other, and he said, "Would you do it?" And I said, "Would you do it?" I said, "Okay, I'll do it this time. Next time, it's going to be you, God forbid." I think it all starts with upbringing, Aditi. The way we upbring our children. Why differentiate between a son and a daughter, right? If your son can party till midnight, so can your daughter. If your son is safe outside the house, so is your daughter, right? Why should she help the mother in the kitchen with the cooking? Why can't the son do it? I think it's all starts with that toddler, teeny, tiny, weeny age, when we give them that kind of upbringing, value system that both are equals. Both of you have to share responsibility in the house, right? That matters a lot. And thankfully, myself and my brother have been brought up with that kind of environment. So for me, I was given a choice. Would you want to do it? And I said, yes, I will do it. Not a problem. But yes, women have to face the brunt because by design, it has been ingrained in our heads that, it is marriage, it is family, it is kids, it is in-laws, and so on and so forth, right? That's how our Indian society is.
I agree. So here is what, upbringing makes a lot of difference. And at least now we are in that stage where our kids are growing up. So I think it's up to us. We instill the right values in our kids. And I'm sure anyways, millennial generation, I see younger couples working around when, they have definitely different philosophy or, even approach towards managing the household. I've seen so many couples not even cooking on a daily basis. So there's nothing wrong in it if both are going to work. I think it's absolutely justified as well.
Actually, I'd like to add my two bit over here. It's not just about, well, definitely, I would never negate that upbringing is the key. But in corporates also, if you really see, progressive organizations have now started various programs where they are on purpose trying to sensitize, their male employees. And, where you have, return to work programs for women, especially scouted for, like in the organization that I currently represent. Now what we're doing is we're trying to increase diversity, and we are trying to ensure that for every position, at least, you meet 4 to 5 women candidates. And now, obviously, we are encouraging people, coming back from, maternity as well. And doesn't matter as long as the skill set and the experience counts. And of course, you go through the normal rigmarole of an interview process. And there's a lot of sensitization that's getting built up. So when women are coming back to work, they're not seen as, separate species, which maybe could have been, the way they were seen or looked at years back.
It could be 10, 15 years back.
Absolutely. Now it's, okay, the person has come on board and whatever she brings onto the table is, any other, a capable candidate could bring onto the table. So I think that kind of a mindset is also changing in organizations.
Completely agree. In fact, even I remember I took my younger one to my office a couple of times when there was nobody to take care of him at the home. So I asked my manager, is it fine if I stay back at home, or if it is fine, I get my child along. So he was very fine. And, even in the meeting, and the baby was really young, say 2 years old, a toddler. So organizations are opening with that mindset. And coming to infrastructure, I think that is one excellent part that is coming up. The kind of daycares with real-time monitoring and all of that has come up. I think that is making a huge difference in lives. So that's a very valid point. In continuation to this itself, Tanushree, I would bounce another question to you. So here you mentioned about the organization's change in mindset. What, in your opinion, would be, in terms of the family support? Do you think woman's job is taken more seriously than it was before?
Seriously, if you ask me, Aditi, yes. The answer is yes. But on the flip side is that India, especially if I talk about the country that we are in, it's overpopulated. So maybe the set of people that I would be representing would be way too less in percentage than, the larger population that we're talking about. But if we talk about the corporate world in specific, yes, absolutely. Women are going out and working. In fact, nobody today, so I have a son who's 18 years old, and I get to interact with a lot of millennials, and their concepts. Nobody is even thinking that they're going to do a lot of their studies and stay at home. It's taken for, or it's rather understood that everybody is out there and they are going to be earning their life. Why should there be a difference between a boy and a girl there? And even my son is of the opinion, okay, as and when mama, whenever I'm going to get married, of course she's also going to be working and I'm also going to be working. So the entire mindset change is very much there. And yes, talking about conservative societies that we are from, where decision is taken by the patriarch of the family, and yes, but now I get to see that, okay, fine, you take a decision, but it's a jointly, mutually, consulted decision. It's not a suo motu decision, mostly, especially, in families where you have people working and going out and working. So yes, mindset is definitely changing. Even when you talk about people in the organizations, men especially, when there are so many sensitization programs happening, obviously that there's something that's taken back, with them home, and they obviously tend to change in their mindset. So yeah, absolutely. I would say that there is a mindset change happening slowly, gradually, but yes, definitely happening.
Very well said. And you rightly said, when it comes to millennials, and our kids are now getting into those stages. So it's absolutely a kind of a taken that both of them are going to be working, and there's just no point, equally work hard with your daughter and then, just assume that she's not going to work unless either of the person doesn't want to work himself by choice or wants to set up on their own. So that's absolutely a different thing. And we're going to see real big changes in coming next 2 decades, I'm sure. So that's definitely coming up. Great. So Shikha, coming to you again from an HR perspective, do you think a career break is still taken as a big taboo on the profile from an employer's perspective?
That's $1 million question, Aditi. What do I get for answering it?
Hi. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure our viewers get something out of it. That is the best I can ask for.
Just joking. I would say yes and no, right? It all depends on how progressive the organization is. What is the reach? What is the mindset? What is the philosophy of the organization? Because I still hear from a lot of my network colleagues, fraternity, saying that, I had to join at the whatever same salary or same designation or same role that I quit 1 year back or 2 years back, right? So somewhere there are certain organizations who are saying, hey, look, you start where you were, right? Whilst the others are saying, no, this is what you deserve for a particular role. You have to probably go through a 10% or 20% jump, whatever the number is, and we position you accordingly because your skills, your experience hasn't gone anywhere. You have that potential and we will do the right role mapping, right? So there are different perspectives to it. But yes, organizations are very, very open. There are women returning programs, dedicated programs in a lot of these large MNCs, which are a big boon to any woman who's going on break. But in certain places, yes, it's still a taboo. It depends on the actual thinking of the organization,
Very
especially
right.
the leadership team.
Yeah, very rightly said, Shikha. And I think it's very much, it depends on the organization's culture and how they look at diversity and inclusion. So it quite a bit depends on that part. I agree. So,
Yeah, and just to add here, Aditi, I think it also the answer lies in a robust employee engagement system. That goes beyond providing crash facilities or flexible timings or working from home, etc. For example, an inclusive hiring strategy. If you have something like that in your organization, that in itself speaks volumes of what you feel of women empowerment in your corporate. Also, maybe a conducive returning mothers program. So we all go out of our way saying that, okay, we are really gung-ho about having people coming back from their break and joining us. But what then? They've joined you, but their environment is still the same. They still have a child and they still have a family to take care. So what is it additionally that you provide so that their productivity remains where you are expected to be, but simultaneously you're also giving them a conducive environment to work with. So such aspects, well, I do know a lot of corporates who are really working hard on these aspects, and their diversity ratio is beautiful, if you really ask me. But yes, India being India, and there are like different mindsets. I would agree with Shikha that maybe we are just about, say, 10% of what we, really want to propagate. And there's a majority of the organizations where these things really need to be grilled into even today.
excellent
And to
point made
add to
here. Yeah.
what Tanushri is saying, right? You will see a lot of women workforce at the junior level, right? As you progress up the corporate ladder, right? Mid-level positions, management level positions, leadership positions, that pipeline is so leaky, right? What percentage of women do you see at senior levels? Very little. I mean, different corporates have different statistics, but then yes, because I mean that pipeline is really leaky. So how open are we to, like she said, conducive environment? You've taken the woman back. How open are you to saying, okay, she will give you 100% productivity or output as to what is expected? And that ties back to my point, which I made earlier, that she has to choose a job role which is fit for her in the new situation after she's become a mother or after there's a change in her life, so that she and the corporate both are in a win-win situation. There's no output loss or productivity loss.
Completely agree. Very valid point made by both of you. And I think here, management programs, how to instill the returning mothers program. And many organizations I know, not just MNCs, but even Indian companies, there's a big, big support. In fact, I have seen so many daycares setting up within the office premises, which itself is a big step towards that. So completely agree. So coming to you, Richa, now, and with the ongoing pandemic, so my question raises here, since we all got that opportunity by force, of course, managing home, office, work, family, everything at the same time. It had its own challenges, but at the same time, possibly, it brought up another good thing for women, wherein they were able to manage kids. When it comes to kids, it's a big blessing. So do you think there is a change in attitude coming towards work, for women, because anyways everybody is working from home?
Yeah, I agree with you, Aditi. I would say this is only blessing that has come with pandemic, especially for women. Like they are now capable to manage their family and work at the same place, and they have option of flexi hours also to do their work at their own convenience, and it saves time also. So they are well equipped, and that stress is not there. Like when you are in office, you are thinking about your family or kids. Lot many things are there. So this is
Someday,
like,
do you think it has taken the productivity up, or is there an impact on productivity going down?
no, it has taken it up. because when you are in calm state of mind, you are more productive, and that's the situation. Women are more productive when they are.
Would the other panelists agree to that part, or any different opinion coming up there?
Okay, so I'll add my bit here. Shika, I'll take a go before you do. See, the success of remote work has really reimagined the corporate world. All right. And I was just reading recently that the BCG, Boston Consulting Group, conducted a survey where they surveyed employees, white collar employees from Germany, India, and US, and 75%, if I'm not wrong, I think I get the statistics right, have actually said that work from home has only increased productivity. Now, this I say in relation to men and women. Okay, so I'm not really talking about women in specific or men in specific. When you talk about organizational productivity, you don't definitely land up seeing the gender there. It's primarily where work takes you. So obviously, productivity has increased, and trust me, this is actually the base for our going ahead business model. It's going to be a hybrid model, and there are companies like Deloitte and, if I could just recall quite a few of them who actually gone ahead and even declared that you can work from home throughout. Why would they do that? Why would a company do that unless and until they see some value out of it? And obviously, the productivity has not decreased. Now, specifically, if you talk about women specifically, I think they have, when we talk about women being multitaskers, this is the right time where actually, it's been proved. Because for us, it's not just work from home, it is also work at home. And, but we're doing fine, and in fact, every colleague of mine, peer, colleague, team member, friends, all, women are doing excellently well. Of course, we have our own, issues, and, we trying to, try hard and maintain a balance. But I think now it's been more than a year. Everybody has kind of got set into it. And I wouldn't say that any one of our appraisals have gone wrong. Everybody has been appraised the way, others have. I mean, others, when I say, I'm talking about men have. So obviously the productivity has not reduced. Come to think of it, let me tell you, I just interviewed a lady who had a year gap. Though, of course, I didn't land up asking that. I had that in my mind. Trust me, I wouldn't say I didn't when I actually did see the CV. And she just told me that I took this break because I wanted to take a yoga break. I was like, wow, okay. She took a yoga break for a year.
That started happening in India, I must say. Like, it used to be abroad.
And when I was speaking to her, she was absolutely in sync with what the work demands. In fact, she's joining us next week.
Wow.
And another colleague of mine, a very dear friend now, she's an ex-colleague, she took a break for maternity and she spent good amount of a year with the child. And now she started her own consultancy firm. She's working with me as a consultant, as a manpower consultant. So, I think it's the entire mindset is changing. Productivity, I would not say for us as a corporate has decreased. In fact, if you really ask me specifically to the organization that I represent, our productivity has increased and our diversity rate is also increasing.
Wonderful.
We've just been awarded best workplaces for women.
Oh, wonderful.
So, all good to go.
Absolutely. I think we've all been reading reports on productivity. That's a clear winner there. This actually, pops up a question in my mind. In India, at least, we had a fairly strict culture of, time in, time outs to card punches. And somewhere it also reflects, the trust that employers used to have on employees. It also has gone up, maybe not by choice, but by force. But, when the employers have seen that if the productivity has not gone down, how does it matter that if an employee works, within 9 to 5 or evening 8 to midnight or early morning hours? It just doesn't matter as long as the work is happening. So,
absolutely. As long as, he or she is available during the major business hours of the day, I don't think that really matters. Nobody's micromanaging things now. Standing on your team member's head to see, whether, the appropriate delivery is happening. It's just that they're expected to do that.
So coming to you, Shikha, continuing the same topic in some way, do you think the millennials now who are joining the workforce, they have a relatively different approach towards not just work, but family, career planning, to their life goals, as Tanushri just mentioned one. How seriously we used to take investment savings to, fulfilling your own wishes, like traveling to things like that. So what are the changes that you see from the millennials?
Millennials, Aditi, always wanted to and still want to conquer the world, right? They're not the so-called stable, mature-minded like you and I and our esteemed panelists on this discussion. Millennials today don't plan too much. Unka
So
funda
is
hai
that a good thing or is that a bad
just
thing?
do it, right? In terms of they want fancy careers, they want good jobs, they want good incomes, they want it's a nice life on Facebook, Instagram. And we do a lot of fresher hiring. I have about 150 odd freshers in my own organization. They're ready to experiment, they're ready to innovate, create, take projects up, work long hours, experiment with everything, right? They're still not thinking about, Acha, when am I going to get married or when am I going to have kids and all that. They're very focused on work, quick success.
The long-term perspective is missing.
Huh?
The
long-term perspective. They live for today.
Absolutely.
So my question to both of you is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing.
I think it has its pros and cons, frankly speaking. I would not really say that it's a fantastic thing and I'm going to propagate that through and through, but I wouldn't say it's bad either. It's totally up to that individual,
Yeah, how you can balance it out probably
absolutely
depends on that.
See, like you rightly said,
the gig economy that's not going to it. I think it's already conquered the world, at least on the west side, and it's surely going to become really big out here. What do you expect? You're just going to be giving them the set work and they'll deliver and go. They are not going to be loyal to your company, and they're not going to be involved in those employee engagement initiatives that we normally think about in our organizations. Just a work-life balance and payment, and that's it.
Yeah, they're not those long runners, they will stick to your organization for 2, 3, 4 years, show loyalty, show compassion and all that, make good money, quick money, learn, grow, develop themselves and move on.
Right? And do good work. And do good work.
Your family setup, right? That's the way going forward. Even our generation is like that to a larger extent. So who are the people who they have to save for? They have to save for themselves to lead a good life and maybe for their partner. There is not too much around them. They've not seen the joint family setup where, you're living in that kind of a setup and you have to think and care about everyone. The ecosystem is very small. The world is very small. So learn, grow, develop, experiment, earn your share, and then move on to some other organization.
Absolutely. So we are going to evidence real big changes in the coming times. So absolutely agree on that. So my last question is going to be to all three of you, maybe Shikha first to you. So as an employer, from your perspective, do you see any new trends coming up, with this hybrid work model that we just discussed that we're already in? So what do you think are the trends? How are they going to be, and how is it going to impact the workforce or the budding managers?
Yeah, like we just said, right? Productivity is going up, and that's the scenario in my organization as well. More of diversity hiring, more of fresher hiring, because they're also a good way to balance on-site offshore cost model, right? Balance the project cost and all that. Hybrid is the way to go forward, right? And if it is not impacting productivity, women have to manage time. That's true, right? I think all of us agree on this call, though we are doing fantastically well with our jobs. But yes, managing time sometimes is a challenge because you're at home and you're available all the time, right? To meet up to customer expectation, internal customer, external customer. You're there to deliver, you're there to attend calls, you're there to do everything, right? So hybrid is going to be the way. And each organization probably is going to decide as to what percentage should probably come into work. In my mind, the roles which are field facing, right? Front ending roles, right? Say, I don't know, say recruitment, say sales, say business development, right? Those will be on the ground, right? Because you have to have that client interaction. Backend functions can beautifully continue working from home. And the productivity is only going up and not going down.
Yeah, and as long as there is good cost optimization happening, and I'm sure employees also end up getting more bonuses. So it's a win-win.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
in
You
fact,
save so much on real estate.
Yeah.
absolutely. So, going by what you just said about the bonus part, Aditi, I think the point that comes to my mind, or the trend that's really going to change, apart from, of course, hybrid workforce, is definitely in. The traditional appraisal system, the performance management system, is definitely going to be out of the door. It's gone are those days, where you do a self-appraisal and the manager does the appraisal. And of course, maybe the process would still be the same because the manager needs to appraise you, or at least, give you the feedback. But those annual appraisals might now, it's going to be more of a continuous appraisal system, where you will have your metrics, and of course your key deliverables are there, and it will be mostly monthly, where you get your feedback regularly and you don't wait till the end of the year to get a feedback. Because, for all I might not be meeting my manager for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, but I'm interacting with him or her, obviously, online and stuff like that. So there's going to be a major, in fact, not going to be, I think I already see it happening, all the forums that I attend, all the webinars that, I've been a part of with the HR fraternity. There's huge things happening in terms of the performance management and the appraisals outlook. So yeah, that's going to change tremendously.
Absolutely. Richa, what's your take on that?
Aditi, I believe organizations are more supportive and flexible towards their employees nowadays. At the end, it all depends on what kind of value you add to the organization. It's all like give and take kind of relationship, and it is more productive nowadays.
Yeah, I completely agree. So we are all in sync there. We are also running out of time, so we'll wrap up the wonderful session. I think we had great inputs from all three of you, and our viewers are going to benefit out of it. As a closure remark, just one statement each, if you would want to give a message to our upcoming managers, just take lead. Tanushree, something.
Go for it.
Wow.
Don't think twice. Go for it.
Excellent. Excellent. Go for it. Shikha.
Woman is you and you is beautiful. Just do what you want to do.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Confidence plays there. How about you, Richa?
Be confident and world will be yours. And right. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's a wonderful message from all three of you. And I'm sure our future managers are going to benefit out of it tremendously. And thank you so much, all three of you, Tanushree, Shikha, Richa, for being with us on the Her Tribe. And look forward to many more sessions like this again in future. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Aditi, for having us.
Thank you, Aditi.
Thank you, Aditi,
Thank you.
for having this
Bye.
discussion.
Thank you.